Welcome to this week in the SFL. Along with Paul Sarp, I'm Cameron Irvine. His rapper name is Paulie. What is it? Paulie J. And
Paulie J.
His player name is Paulie T. And he's Paul Sarp with us here this evening. How you doing tonight, Paul?
I'm doing awesome, Cam. Again, it's Impact Monday, one of the best nights of the week. I get to be here with you in the SFL community talking about all the action that happened over the weekend. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight, Cam.
Skippy wants to be next level famous. 1999 Super Chat. Good luck, Van. Can't wait to watch your boy Curtis. I can't say what she actually said because it's a family-friendly television program, but wild and crazy, Skip, on your bingo card at home. And there you go. What a great way to start the show, right, Paul?
We're starting off strong. Again, 1999 Super Chat. That's what we love to see here on Impact Monday.
We are
spectacular.
It's yeah, to keep Mike Daggs happy. Chat shout-outs to everyone. Moose Papineau, Josh Farnsworth, Art Vandalay, Nighthawks 24. If you ever want to participate in the live chat, youtube.com/Simulationfl is the way to do it for all of our Next Level Sports supporters. Week 7, we had some duds, but we had some amazing classics, and let's get to those headlines from week number 7. Hey, not many teams can say this, Paul. 1-0 in Baltimore. That's what Fort Worth can say. They stunned the Vultures in their first trip to Sports Gamers Online Stadium, and they finished the first half of the season 4-2. They are just behind Mexico City in strength of victory. That's the current tiebreaker in the South. And we'll get to more of the standings a little later in the show. Vegas, SFL's surprise team. They're now 5-1 after a blowout victory in Canton. They lead the West thanks to a win versus Arizona, and their SOV is better than Baltimore's, so Vegas is actually in the 2 spot halfway through the season. In an Indy, Portland, Paul, instant classic. Roosevelt and Love showed up, showed out, put on a show, and the Ramblers edge the fleet, finally get their first win on the road, 1-9. What caught your attention the most, Paul, in week 7?
As far as all three of those headlines, all three are great headlines. A bunch of great teams all around. But for me, I have to go, how do you not go with Fort Worth? Going into Baltimore Sports Gamers Online Arena, beating the Vultures. It's just an incredible thing to do. Not a lot of teams have been able to say that they've done that. So I got to go with Fort Worth as the biggest headline of week 7.
And let's get right into it as we go to Baltimore, where Fort Worth's picking off Jack Wigmore in the end zone. A scoreless first quarter. Fort Worth's defense all over Wigmore throughout the day. Pick it up in the second quarter. Marcus Dunhill back of the end zone. Stephen Hacker. So Fort Worth takes 7 off the board for Baltimore. Gets 7 on their own just before the end of the half. 7-3 Fort Worth. It's Hacker again. Right over the top of the defense. That was Loshaw who tried to get a hand on it. 14-3 Toros. This was the first sign coming up, Paul, of Baltimore starting to get the wheels turning. Just before the half, grabbing some points. Ivory Irvin runs over an official, and Jack Wigmore puts the chipper in. 14-6 at the half.
Great job for Baltimore to, again, only a few seconds left on the clock, get some points up before halftime. Great job by Baltimore there.
But they just could not get consistent drives going. That 3rd and 5 stop would have to have them settle for a field goal again before the pass is intercepted over the middle by Noah Regier. And it's a field goal for Fort Worth, 17-9. Fourth quarter, picked off down the sideline by Aiden Davis, who had a sensational game. And this was really the first moment that you felt like, oh no, Baltimore could actually be in some trouble. When you need a first down, go to Robert Garrett Jr., the Cowboy. That gets an Amelia Rose field goal that makes it 20-9. Baltimore under pressure on 3rd and 1. Gets sacked by Jerry D. Gond. Another Tarkington field goal would make it 20-12. Onside kick coming. The Vultures hanging on by a thread. Tarkington flips the field, and Irvin recovers, and Baltimore's got the football. The Vultures not going away easy with this recovery.
Just couldn't get the hands on the ball, and just, as anyone would tell you, get the hands on the ball, recover the ball. But Baltimore getting the ball here with a shot.
And under a minute to go, Warren Murray scores 20-18. 2-point conversion for Wigmore. No! Look to Murray. They fail to recover the onside kick after the failed 2-point conversion, and Amelia Rose from 51. Bang! Got it. 23-18 Toros. One last hurrah for Wigmore and the Vultures, and it's picked off by Ben Stone. Fort Worth 4-2. The Vultures fall to 66-7 at home, and that's where we go. Check this out. Baltimore at home, 66-7. Their worst home loss, Paul, is just 11 points back February 2nd, 2019 against Tallahassee. A 38-27 defeat, and you see the last three teams to beat Baltimore in Baltimore. Carolina, March of 21, almost 2 years Baltimore had gone without losing at home. Sioux Falls back in September of 2020, and then Queen City got the better of them in the playoffs, 27-24 back at the pandemic's beginning. You see some marks there for Baltimore, but what an accomplishment, Paul, for Fort Worth to go into Sports Gamers Online and nab a very rare victory.
To be one of 7 teams to go into Sports Gamers Online Arena and beat Baltimore, it's just a truly incredible feat to have as a franchise. And as we see here, Baltimore's not losing by a lot at home, and Fort Worth barely getting the best of Baltimore this weekend. Just a great job all around from Fort Worth. They played an absolute perfect game.
The 18 points that Baltimore scored at home was the fewest since Sioux Falls held them to 17. This is 50 on the graphic. 20-17 back in September 21 of 2020. DJ Woods with the $10 super chat says, want to hear something wild? I lost my tooth eating Chick-fil-A. And no, I would not elaborate in the chat. See y'all later. Paul, that gets a top vote for strangest super chats of the season. I don't want to know how he lost his tooth eating at Chick-fil-A, but they're pretty good. No, not a sponsor.
Hey, DJ, where's the Chick-fil-A for the rest of us here? We're a little hungry.
Hey, if his tooth's in there, I don't want it. So, yeah, you got to be careful getting Chick-fil-A handouts from DJ Woods. Ashley Jackson caught up with Fort Worth's Stephen Hacker, who still has all his teeth.
Welcome back to PGI. And I am here with another great friend of mine, Mr. Stephen Hacker. He is one of the co-owner, I should say. He is wide receiver, and he is coach for the Fort Worth Toros, who just had a big win over the undefeated Baltimore Vultures tonight. How do you feel right now?
Oh, Ashley, we're really pumped up. The locker room's feeling great. That was a big win for our franchise. You know, Baltimore is a well-respected team, not only by the league but by us. And to go out there and play a competitive game like that one, you know, we're on top of the moon right now. It was a great win for us. We were feeling really good going into our sims, into the practice. And so when we came out with the win, it was a great feeling. Got a lot of congratulations from the community and other coaches. So that was a great feeling. You know, it's feel like that's a game that's going to give us some respect, that we feel like, you know, we've been flying under the radar a little bit, and maybe a win like that will put us on the map of some other teams around the SFL.
Definitely will. Now, what was your thoughts, what was the locker room feeling when you saw Emily Rose hit that 51-yarder, and then you give Baltimore ball back only for them to throw the interception right back to Ben Stone and end out the game? How did all of that?
You know, in the chat, I said, you know, Amelia's got the leg. Amelia Rose, for us, has not missed a field goal. You know, in her career, all her misses have been blocks. So as consistent as can be whenever the blocking holds up, has a 44-inch thigh, and she's got a leg and can boot it from however far, line her up, and she's going to knock it through. And she proved it again. We've got all the faith in the world in Amelia Rose, and when she goes out there, we're confident that it's 3 points.
Fantastic. Listen, you guys did a great job. One more question I have for you. What do you say to people that still feel Fort Worth is a bit underrated? You know,
I think that's just the status quo. You know, if teams want to underrate us, that's fine. If you don't want to give us respect or pay attention to us, well, when you play us, we're going to make you respect us. We always embrace challenges. I'll give Alamo City credit where credit's due. That's one team that we played 8 times now and have not beat them. And you best believe every time they're on the schedule, that's a game we circle now. That's something we look for. DC earlier this season, all respect to DC, a team we hold in high regard, but they were 7-0 in the state of Texas, and you better believe we circled that game. That was a game that meant a lot to us, and we wanted to win it. And when we did, it was a great feeling for our team because they own Texas, is what they were saying. So not around here. We're going to go out and get that win, and we did so. So same thing with Baltimore. It's really easy with Baltimore. They have such a good track record. It's really easy to say, oh, well, they beat everybody, so let's go beat them, and we can prove that we can beat everybody, right? That was kind of the what we wanted this week, and really, really happy to get that one, man. I just can't say that enough.
Well, good job, Coach. You did your thing. He definitely had a better game plan at the end of the day to get the accomplishment that you deserved. So I wish you guys the best of luck for the rest of the season. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing for the next game as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Ashley.
Very welcome. Cam, Paulie, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. And Curtis of the 199 Super Chat, who said our plumber could be on screen? I think Curtis is just jealous of the stash. I know. I don't think
sure.
Paul and I, we're not stash people. We can't pull that off. I don't think Curtis can either.
I got a little bit, but again, Steven Hacker, huge credit to Fort Worth, Steven Hacker, and Steven Hacker's mustache. As soon as Baltimore saw that mustache, I know they felt intimidated.
Putting the fear in opponents since 2018. And I like what he said. Paul, about circling opponents, and now maybe Fort Worth becomes an opponent that or a team that opponents circle. Is saying, look, these guys can beat Baltimore. That means they can beat anyone, including us. We got to bring our A game because they're going to come to play. And it really is interesting, Paul, the league all about matchups. They haven't beat Alamo City a single time ever, but yet they just went to Baltimore and won.
Just a huge game, like Steven Hacker said, huge for the franchise to give them the confidence that, hey, we truly can beat anyone in this league. So I think the Fort Worth Toros opened a lot of eyes around the league that, hey, they are here and they beat Baltimore. They're a real contender for season 20 SFL championship title.
The Super Chats are rolling tonight, and the storylines are rolling. Let's get to some of the top offenses in the SFL and see how they did this week. Actually, no, you know what? We're going to go to the epic battle in Portland, where the top passing offense of Indianapolis is getting going, but Kanye Rockefeller is out of here on the kickoff. His second return touchdown of the season, and Indy goes up 14-7. Ezekiel Love right back. Very next play. Oh, he's gone. And we're tied at 14 late in the first quarter. Indy's top passing offense led by Ryan Roosevelt, Jeff Banfield, and boy, would they have a day. Of course, Colin Pierce at quarterback. Start of the second quarter, first play of the second. Caught. Touchdown, Banfield. He would see more out of that back corner of the end zone later in the highlight. 21-14. How would Cyrus Jive respond? Touchdown. Gavin Bouvette were tied 21 apiece late or mid second quarter. Very next play for Indianapolis. Colin Pierce's pass is intercepted, very underthrown. Chris Stock on the return. And this was the first time any team really felt like they had an ounce of momentum as both teams continue to fight back and forth. Ezekiel Love, stop and start. Oh, juke inside. Put face to the grass. They're inside the 1 yard line, and then Jive, well, who else would you give it to? Ezekiel Love for the score, 38 carries in this game for over 200 yards, 28-21, Portland on top. Indy responds. Ryan Roosevelt, touchdown on the late hit just before the half. We're all square, 28-28. Indianapolis 0-9 on the road in franchise history, trying to make something happen. Colin Pierce is picked off. It would turn out to be a blessing in disguise. Brody Gulch with the interception, but Ezekiel Love is wrapped up by Chris Britton for a safety. The first non-touchdown score of the game, 30-28. Watch this, Paul. Jeff Banfield back in the end zone. Ruled an incomplete pass, but check the replay. Challenge from Wiseman. Indy going to get another score.
Great challenge from Indianapolis there. That looked like a beautiful throw there by Pierce to, was it Banfield?
Yeah, watch this.
Beautiful throw there. Wow, one-handed grab. What a camera angle on that one.
And got 2 feet in. Under 2 minutes to go, 37-35. Pass to Benjamin Warner is caught just past the goal line, and Portland takes the lead 42-37. Here's another look at it. Warner running an out route just beyond the goal line, and yeah, that's a touchdown. Another close call. 50 seconds to go. Colin Pierce hit as he threw the pass, caught by Ryan Roosevelt, and Indy goes up 43-42. The 2-point conversion fails. Portland with 9 seconds left on 4th and 10. One last shot to get a first down as Cyrus Jive is sacked. Indy wins 43-42, and the top passing offense gets a win. They go to 3-3. One last look at Portland losing their lead in the Pacific. Now, the top rushing offense in the SFL, that's Denver. In a 7-7 game in the second quarter, they cannot prevent Scar Patterson from hitting Benji Matson for the score. Patterson 3 touchdowns, no picks in this game. Then he finds Matson again for the touchdown. 21-7 San Diego. They had no hangover from their tough loss to Canton last week. Look at the big man trying to catch Bailey O'Shaughnessy. That's not going to work. O'Shaughnessy with the touchdown at the end of the first half. Bell makes it 21-14. Patterson sacked in the backfield to force a 3rd down and 25 here in the third quarter. And then Denver's defense gets yet another sack. 3 straight sacks after O'Shaughnessy got the touchdown. But this was the story of the game, Paul, as San Diego wraps up O'Shaughnessy in the backfield for a loss. Just 11 yards on 12 carries for O'Shaughnessy outside the touchdown run. Matson scores again, makes it 28-17 Mavericks. And then Struthers is picked off by Stuart Zomilia. Clean slate for San Diego on this day, Paul.
San Diego's just playing incredible to come into this game and focus on Bailey O'Shaughnessy. Like you said, only other than that long run from O'Shaughnessy, to hold Bailey to only 11 yards on 9 carries, it's just an incredible feat from San Diego. And their offense is rolling as well, just putting points up on the board.
Sudo Nakai got a touchdown on the opening drive for the second week in a row, and Nakai here is going to try to finish off the Nightwings, who are a pretty good 2-4 team. If I do say so myself, Paul, they've been in pretty much every game this season, but that's the backup to Nakai sniping a touchdown from all the SFL fantasy players. Trickle gets the score, 35-17. Less than 5 minutes to go, but Denver's not giving up. Logan Keel is wide open for the touchdown, 35-24. Put a little bit of pressure. Division games are different, Paul. They just never let up.
Never. When these teams have to play each other every season, you got to love a good divisional game, a little rivalry in the SFL. And as we see here in these highlights, these teams were battling until the last second.
Struthers sacked by Biff Markham, and San Diego takes the cake, 35-24. They improve to 4-2 on the season. From teams at the top with passing and rushing offenses to teams at the bottom, that's Queen City. They lose 34-17 on Saturday. But it's crazy, Paul. John Lakeman, no picks, 29 of 41, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they lost Jet 0 early in the game, yet he still played so well. Powell with both those touchdowns, 109 yards, but look at that stat from the backup running back, 20 carries, -1 yard for Queen City's backup, and they just didn't stand a chance. Pickler had an efficient day. Merrill was excellent. Vin Callia was all over the place. And London's been in a bunch of blowouts to start this season. They're now 3-3.
London playing great, and as you said, John Lakeman, he played a great game, but when your running back goes down early and you essentially become a one-dimensional offense, it's just going to be hard to come back and go up against a tough London Knights team and try to come back from that.
They're not the only team at the bottom of the standings. Let's check in on Atlanta and Los Angeles from this weekend. Riot Dynasty to Siege Falco. with the score. Atlanta looked to make this a rout early. LA did hold their own, 10-0 in the second quarter. The 5-0 Swarm, now trying to remain the only unbeaten team, gets a punt block from Don Fletcher, who also had a pick in this game. He was just all over the field, and Atlanta was off and running. 2 plays later, handoff to BDG Hollywood, doing Hollywood things inside the 30 down to the 26-yard line. LA at this point still being shut out, 14.5-point dogs at home, the winless Lycans. Hollywood takes another handoff. This dude is so tough to stop. Gets it down to the 16-yard line, and Bryant Dynasty finishes the drive off with a touchdown to Falco. Just kidding, down to the 2. It's a tight end instead with the score for Bryant Dynasty in the Swarm. They'll go up 17-0. Look, I was wrong again. Hollywood with the touchdown. 17-0 Atlanta. Hey, you know, they don't pay me by the highlight as Atlanta takes a 17-0 lead. This though, Paul, is where the game seemingly felt like it was Atlanta's night. End of the third quarter, Jack Flash is hurt, resulting in a 4th and 1. Logan Jack is actually going to convert the first down, but with the injury to Jack Flash, I said Logan Jack was hurt. With the injury to Jack Flash, only 7 yards after that 4th down conversion, and then Sido Lindy's field goal was stoinked.
Kind of the story of the season for Los Angeles. Just unfortunate that the field goal hit. You hear the boom across the world there, hitting that post there, and kind of, like I said, just the story of Los Angeles' season so far.
Hey, here it is. Someone's going to write me a better script. Jamal Wooding with that touchdown I was talking about, and Atlanta put a wrap on it. 24-10. They improved to 6-0. LA goes to 0-6. Now we get to hear what LA's Sully Richardson has to say about their difficult season to start.
Welcome back to PGI. And I am here with a good friend of mine, Mr. Sully Richardson. He is the quarterback, as well as owner, as well as defensive coach for the LA Lycans. Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored, and my emotions are like this doggy right here. So, yes, like that doggy right there. But other than that, I'm good.
Oh man, listen. I do feel you. I do understand, but I do have a question for you. You know, it's Impact Monday, and I want to know, what do you think LA has to do in order to get over this hump? You guys are looking for your first win. I know you guys are trying hard in the lab to get things done. So what changed, and what do you think you have to do to get over that?
Well, this is Ryan Yosef's first official season as being the OC. A lot of people, if you follow our history, it's been like since season 16 and season 17. I'll just give you a quick history. Season 16, Ramen was the offensive coordinator. Then he got injured, so then Yosef had to step in. So like the formula whatnot, Yosef never did anything like that before. So season 17, the Dollar General, Mr. Clean, was hired as the offensive coordinator. We talked about that before, and he was the infamous 2-1. So he relieved himself of his duties and basically moonwalked out like a thief in the night. And Ryan Yosef once again was thrust into the OC position. And we made the playoffs again. Season 17, hold on, no, that was season 16, 17. Season 18, what happened season 18, it's a blur. Because I switched up the defense from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Hell, I forgot what happened in season 18. I forgot. It's like, let's just say, like, after we made the playoffs 2 seasons straight, we've gradually been going down. Um, Season 19, we were close. I felt like we could have beat Baltimore. There were like many teams that it was like fourth quarter we were getting it in, and then all of a sudden we just sputtered. So really, like this season, the only difference, Tommy Rahman went from fullback to tight end too. We got a new linebacker and a rookie defensive tackle that we drafted in the number 2 pick of the draft. So it really hasn't been like a big difference or whatnot. Like we had a strategy. We play tested during the off season. We felt good about everything that was going on. And I'll say this, like in our play testing and our scrimmages, our sims or whatnot, we look magnificent. We scout and we do everything. But when game day comes, we look like we ain't worth a silver nickel. So I don't know. Like I guess we just keep on chopping at the bit. That's it. Like we can't give up. We just gotta keep on doing what we do. And hopefully we can get a W somehow.
Indeed, man. I believe in what you got going on. I believe in your coaching abilities. I've seen you guys do well. It's just a learning curve for everybody. And I think that you guys will overcome it and you'll be fine eventually. So I wish you the best of luck, Sully. I wish your whole team the best of luck. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys add some wins to your column. Okay.
Oh, me too. And thank you.
Anytime. Cam, Polly, back to you.
Thank you, Ashley. And a great interview there with Sully Richardson. DJ in the chat says, Sully seems like a nice dude. I hope LA gets the win. And, it's these people behind the players, behind these coaches that really hit you. And by the way, Ashley is an MVP for censoring the background there of Sully's. Thank you for not making me have to do extra work today. But it was interesting how he kind of broke down the history of this Lycans franchise and going back to the days of the Chicago franchise. Paul, it seems to me like LA's downfall is just that they just can't get any consistency in the coaching realm, in the front office realm. They've had all the same people, but everyone's playing in all these different roles. Everybody's got all these different things that they've been doing, and they just need to settle down and settle into and get into a rhythm. And unfortunately, they don't get a rhythm in season 21 either as the league transitions to its own game. But it's kind of crazy when you look back on it. Just how things have kind of taken a turn for the worse for the Lycans.
Sure, and just like the Lycans, there's another historic franchise that's tied with them down at the bottom of the leaderboard at 0-6, the Queen City Corsairs. And the Corsairs, they've set sail to Ocean, searching for the 20th time for an SFL championship. And to me personally, I just believe that also, along with the Lycans, due to consistency with them, it also ties into the fact that the level of competition in the SFL has just grown substantially over the past 10 years, Cam. And just the front offices all around the league, everyone's putting the time in, and no win is guaranteed anymore in the SFL, no matter who you're playing. So to me personally, it's just the quality of the front offices around the SFL has been the ultimate downfall, so to speak, for the Lycans and also the Queen City Corsairs.
Yeah, Queen City's an interesting one because LA's had excellent retention. They just have not been able to find stability in their front office. Queen City has kind of faced the opposite problem. They've had some stability there for a while with Tom Walsh, Eric Barkley, but they just have not been able to retain their staff, their player personnel, so they're constantly having to rebuild. They are a young squad that's 0-6. LA is an older squad that's 0-6. So it's really interesting to see those dynamics. Now, on the total flip side of the standings, you've got Atlanta, who now stands alone as the only unbeaten team at 6-0. They are in the number one spot. They control their own destiny. Wasn't the best showing out of them in this game. And wasn't the best showing out of me in the highlights either. But Atlanta still got it done, and they're 6-0 and have super high hopes for this season. Would you consider them the favorites just yet? What do they have to do to become the favorites in your mind?
I mean, at this point in time, it's hard to say that they can't be a favorite, but there's still a bunch of good teams in the league. So it's hard to pinpoint the exact favorite in the league. But how do you argue against the 6-0 start? And from what I've seen this season, the Atlanta Swarm have definitely been the most electric team so far in season 20.
Ashley Jackson caught up with the owner of the Atlanta Swarm, Mark Chisholm, for the first time this season to talk about this hot start.
Welcome back to PGI. And I am here with another good friend of mine, Mr. Mark Chisholm. He is the owner of the Atlanta Swarm, who is on a hot streak right now, has not lost a game all season. How are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, Ash?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, anytime, brother. Anytime. Glad you can make it. So you guys are sitting at 6-0 now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the last time I think you guys had such a strong start, you wound up winning the championship that same season.
Season 14.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what has changed with you guys since season 14 until now that gives you such a strong showing this season? I mean, you guys have been doing great.
We just went through normal growing pains like a franchise can go through when they lose players.
Yeah.
When Marcus retired to go help the league out, he was a gold quarterback with 4 or 5 animations. So we had to go through a rebuilding phase with Dynasty. He came out the minors as a bronze. So that's a growing process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a learning process as a coach also because the same throws that Marcus could make, Dynasty couldn't. So I had to flip the playbook, change it, go through that process of seeing what does work, what doesn't. And now we're back to a level where he can do what I'm used to doing.
Okay. What made you hire Joshua Williams as your defensive coach?
I've been riding with Josh since season 14. Swole is a dude who's been putting in the work to learn. And I tried to bring him on as a defensive coordinator 2 seasons ago. I felt he was ready. I've seen his growth. Look what he's done with the Adams and the minors, 3 or 4-time champion now. So, I mean, he's been ready to be up here with the big boys, and it's showing and proving this season.
I love it. Last question for you. Do you think that your undefeated season will last all season long until you get to the playoffs and maybe even beyond?
I mean, I don't know. We don't look at it like that. We look at it week to week. We go one game at a time. We respect everybody on the other side of that field the same way, no matter what their record is, because we know any given day we can come up with that L. So this week we went 1-0. We were able to beat LA, outlast them, but next week is another test in Portland. So hopefully we can get that 1-0 victory also.
All right then, brother. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Good luck to you for the rest of the season. I mean, of course, unless you're playing the Scorpions, but
Okay.
It's good to see that you guys are back, back in the limelight.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime. Cam, Polly, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. And boy, an Atlanta-Arizona playoff game would be absolutely epic. That's a big rivalry of the Bugs there between the Swarm and the Scorpions. But I like what Mark said to put in perspective the franchise after Marcus Dunhill, because they never went out and got a big free agent signing acquired quarterback. They built through the draft and have been building dynasty up over the years and building their coaching staff up as well. Like he said, the 3-time champion Adams are led by some of his staff. And, it's all sort of coming together here in season 20 for them right now.
Absolutely. And huge credit to everyone in the Atlanta Swarm organization. 6-0 is no easy task in the SFL. And to be sitting in the situation that they're in right now, headed into the second half of the season, is just there. I'm sure they're all feeling great about the remainder of the season and looking forward to the playoffs. And hopefully Atlanta, everyone in Atlanta, the fans in Atlanta are all hoping to be holding the trophy at the end of the season.
Don't be sleeping on Atlanta. Don't be sleeping on Carolina either. Back to the highlights as Houston is in Carolina for this one, and Hattori Hanzo is off and running, gets the first touchdown of the night, 7-3, but it was more about this lady, Ike McBride. Watch this run. Man, put somebody in the dirt and is out of there. Desperately trying to catch up to Ike, and no one could. The score is for 7, Carolina 14-6. Third quarter, GP Wells getting it going. Trevon Prasad can't make the tackle, and Houston's up 14-12. Would go for 2, chasing the points early. Saw Baltimore fail on a 2-point conversion earlier in the show, but this time GP Wells has just enough space to squeeze it, and we're all tied at 14. Carolina getting the football back after a 3-minute drive. Thumps it all the way down the field, and that's about the easiest touchdown you'll see in the SFL. One more time, Ike McBride, they just can't stop her in the red zone. 28-17, Carolina rolling, under 5 to go. Matt South fires down the field, picked off by Josh Rowe. He also forced a fumble on Hanzo in this game, and Houston's defense, despite a tough season, Paul, they just keep themselves in the game every week.
Yeah, when you have superstars on your defense for Houston, I know your record might not show how good your defense is, but huge credit to Houston's defense as they've helped Houston stay in games all season long.
Dave Burr deep down the field, pass caught by DR Sim down to the 25-yard line, under 5 to go, so Houston is scrambling. Burr trying to get the offense moving, which actually he did a pretty good job of most of the night as Sim makes another catch down to the 1-yard line. 2 plays later, it's Mike St. Green with the acrobatic catch, and Houston's right back in this thing, 28-24. The Headhunters offense pretty balanced, much improved from the week prior, but Burr's pass on the last drive picked up by Danny Stinson. It's a big man touchdown. The linebacker with a pick 6. Burr gets blocked out, and Carolina puts the finishing touches on it. Man, what a great play. He'll never forget that.
We love seeing the big man go up and get that interception and take it back to the house, putting points up and putting the nail in the coffin.
Danny Stinson gets Carolina to 4-2. What a start for the Skyhawks. Houston falls to 1-5 after things looked so promising the previous season, 35-23. Now to Sioux Falls, where Seattle got off to a really hot start. Trellis Blanton to Zach Patton with the score, 16-10. We picked things up in the third, and this is when things started to go haywire for the nemesis is Noe Terrasis, all alone on the play fake, 23-10 Sioux Falls. This was a reversal of the third quarter fortunes for the Sparrows from last week in our Impact Monday game against Atlanta. Seattle throws a pick. John Barnhart with the interception on the Nemesis next series. Too much Jason Williams in the second half. You got front row seat to this one, Paul.
I did have front row seats to it, and boy, do I wish that we had a third quarter from Sioux Falls similar to the last Impact Monday Night Spectacular with Cam and Paul, as Mike Daggs enters the chat. And wow, man, Sioux Falls really turned it on in the second half, and there was just no answers for the Seattle Nemesis against this Sioux Falls team.
Okay, Marion, another big night. Seattle didn't give up. It was Zach Patton with the score. Made it a 2-score game. I mean, there's still 7 minutes to go. At this point, it's still a 16-point game. Seattle's hanging around, just couldn't get off the field. Jason Williams with another score, and Sioux Falls takes the win 40-24. More blowouts this week. Let's go to Jacksonville, where Tulsa put up a 50-burger, set a franchise record for points in a game. They were all over the Kings early and often as O.J. Bruin, after heavy scrutiny from last week's 7 interceptions, threw a pick on his first play. Marco Swift had 4 of them, including a pick 6. And Douglas Brown, 28 carries, 167 yards, and 4 scores as well. I thought this was interesting, Paul. You don't often see a quarterback stat line in the SFL with no touchdowns or no interceptions, and that was JQ, just very efficient on the day. Bruin ended up throwing 5, but he did throw for 332 yards. and Sean Sanders, 150 yards and a touchdown. They really have something in this back. Jacksonville's offense just didn't play that bad, but, man, the Kings going downhill fast after starting 2-0.
It's a tough game for the Kings after a 7-interception performance from O.J. Bruin. Tried to kind of turn the tides. They did get 31 points on the board, but when you got Marco Swift on the other side getting 4 interceptions, one of them for a touchdown, your running back Douglas Brown has 4 touchdowns, and you have 50 points, it's tough to win a game when your defense is allowing 50 points.
Tulsa's now 4-2, if you can believe it, Paul. They're almost out of the playoffs. If the standings, if the season ended today, we'll get to more of the standings in a moment. They are just behind Minnesota in the division, thanks to the Legends' better divisional record. On Saturday, Vegas stomped Canton 34-9, and kind of a shocker after Canton beat San Diego the week before 16-13. Vegas now 5-1 in the second spot in the SFL, thanks to Mason Kirby's 144 yards and a touchdown. Merrick Itera had a pick 6 late, and it's worth noting that Vegas's best regular season in SFL history is 7-5. They are now 5-1. They are rolling, the surprise of the SFL this year.
Las Vegas has been doing an incredible job all season long. I've had Las Vegas on my radar for a few seasons now. They're one of those teams that they'll take the gamble, and they're a high-firing offense. Their defense this season has shown a few weak spots. So if they can figure out those gaps within the defense, I believe the Las Vegas hype is real, and I think they're going to definitely be a team to watch out for the remainder of the season.
Jackson caught up with Vegas owner John Bond for the first time this season on his 5-1 start.
Welcome back to PGI. And I have a good friend of mine here with me, Mr. John Bond. He is the head coach and owner of the Las Vegas Fury. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great.
Hey, that's good to hear. I know you are winning 34-9 over Canton. That was a big win for you guys.
It sure was.
So what do you think the secret to your success is at this point? Because you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. You are the one that is basically coaching both sides of the ball. So what is the secret to your success right now?
Really just over time building up the right plays on both sides of the ball over the years. And you know, there's the thing that you think works, and maybe it's got you so far, but then at some point you build up enough knowledge that you can put the right stuff together to make it happen, like some of the top teams.
Okay. Is there a team that you're looking forward to playing on for the rest of your season?
We're looking forward to playing. I'd say we always look forward to playing Denver.
Okay.
The promo videos for that Jeremy always puts together are always great.
Definitely. Vice Wars. Love it. Okay. Gotcha. And last question for you. What kind of enchantment have you put on Silver State Stadium so that the Arizona Scorpions cannot win a game there?
I just think the house always wins, so it's just hard to win in Vegas. So we've always been a team that can somehow pull off whatever we need to make happens to help us win those games at home.
Okay. Well, good job, Coach. You have been doing an absolutely amazing job. Keep up the hard work, the good work, and we'll be seeing you very soon, okay?
All right. Thanks a lot.
Very welcome. Cam, Polly, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. Paul, I think John threw a little shade there at Arizona because Arizona's on the schedule week 14 again, and she's like, "Hey, who you most excited to be playing coming up the rest of the season?" Denver. Next question. And Baltimore's on the schedule too. John Bond. He's one of the originals. A smaller staff in Vegas, but he's crushing it right now.
Doing an absolutely amazing job this season on both sides of the ball, and you got to give credit to Ashley for trying to get a little inside info. Again, Arizona hasn't beaten Las Vegas in Las Vegas, so maybe trying to get a little bit of information to help them out. Both sides, great teams, great franchises, great organizations, great people.
Now, Paul, we've done this. We're almost to the end of the show, and I'm forgetting somebody. Who are we Who did we write off too early? Who is it? I can't remember.
Is it the Florida Storm?
Oh, yeah. It's the Florida Storm. Florida hosting Minnesota in the Next Level Sports Saturday Showcase. And Ron Haynes has his first career touchdown to end the half, 13-3. We picked things up in the third quarter. Florida was 0-4. Everybody called them dead. They're alive. But Ron Cochran throws a pick to Johnny Bravo, and it was in this moment where you felt like, maybe we should pull the plug on this season. Bravo with the pick, and Minnesota going to strike back. Buchanan Simons, deep shot down the field with a diving catch. Pretty ball.
Beautiful catch by Simon there. Just to dive out and go out and get it. Your quarterback's putting faith in you to put your body out there on the line and catch the ball, bring the ball down, move the chains. Just a great throw, great catch.
That was his first catch of the game, and he would get the touchdown for his efforts. Watch top of the screen, run a little post inside, tough catch. Buchanan Simon scores 13-10, middle of the third quarter. Minnesota trying to sniff 5-1 at the top of the standings. 16-10 start of the fourth quarter, and it's a Stephen Bush touchdown right through the hands of the defense. Bush puts Florida up 12.
There's the Ron Cochran we all know and love, the Hall of Fame quarterback, getting it done there on that play. Beautiful throw in a perfect spot for Bush to go up and catch that ball and put 7 points on the board for Florida.
Chris Komisak just across the goal line gets the score, 23-17, 6.5 to go. Minnesota hanging in there. 40 seconds left. 4th and 11. The legend trying to stay alive. 6.5-point favorites in this one, and Simons with another catch all the way down to the 20 to the 14-yard line. Razor thin margins in the SFL. Simons 4 catches, 89 yards, 3 of them on this highlight reel. 26 seconds left, 4 wide. Reno's pass is intercepted by Evan Carroll, and the Florida Storm now have their second win in a row. So here's where the standings stand. This will be the last time you'll see this graphic broken down by division leaders. Starting next week, you'll have your top 4 teams on bye on the left, and then your 5 through 12 seeds on the right. So you can expect that next week, but here's a look at it from a division leader perspective. Atlanta is your lone 6-0 and unbeaten team. Vegas is 5-1. They have a SOV tiebreaker over Baltimore at the moment, and they have a head-to-head tiebreaker over Arizona at the moment. Baltimore 5-1, still in control of their own destiny in the Atlantic despite the loss. Mexico City leads Fort Worth at 4-2 thanks to SOV. They both have the same division record. Minnesota's ahead of Tulsa thanks to division record at 4-2, and Vancouver has slid back into the lead at 3-2 in the Pacific after Portland's loss. Canton still leads London with a 3-3 record thanks to their head-to-head victory over the Knights. Your wild cards, Arizona, Fort Worth, Carolina, Tulsa, San Diego in that order. San Diego slipping in at the 12 spot at the moment at 4-2. Louisiana on the outside looking in, coming into Impact Monday. They are 3-2. They need a win, probably more than Vancouver does, because Atlanta is in this division, and Louisiana is probably going to have to keep pace with all the other wild card teams. All the 500 teams on the outside looking in, including Sioux Falls, Alamo City, and London. But what stands out to you in the standings, Paul, as we hit essentially the halfway point of the SFL's 20th anniversary season?
There's a few surprises to me. Again, Las Vegas up there, number 2 spot is incredible. But to me, as we just saw the highlights for, the Florida Storm is a big surprise to me, being way down there on the leaderboard. After starting 0-4, Florida has won their last 3 now against Louisiana and Minnesota, or last 2. Again, 2 great teams so far. A so-called desperate play style in the second half for Florida might be a good thing for them, and I believe it's going to cause hailstorms, firestorms, thunderstorms, any type of storms imaginable for any of the teams remaining on their schedule. I'd also bet that Mighty and company are in the lab right now cooking up their game plan for Week 8 against the Vancouver Legion, who I'm sure the Florida Storm, about 15 minutes, are going to be tuning in to get their scouting done on the Legion and put everything they can into next week's matchup against Vancouver.
Florida not on the graphic yet, but it's a quick turnaround for these Legion. They play tonight, and then they go to Florida They may stay in the South. I don't know. They go to Florida on Friday night due to the schedule change. So very quick turnaround there for the Legion, trying to win back-to-back road games in the East Division. For our Next Level Sports audience, this has been a presentation of This Week in the SFL Season 20 Week 7 edition. Paul and I thank you for watching. For our YouTube audience, pregame of Vancouver and Louisiana comes your way next, followed by that kickoff for Paul and Cam. And the rest of our SFL crew will be right back for Impact Monday right here on YouTube.